Testing the microphone. Tiae in the building. Who's ready? Let's start this. The No Stand Zone podcast. You're welcome. You're welcome to you. So excited today. It's the No Stand Zone podcast. Tiae in the building. The number one host covering and bringing you the best of analysis around the Nigerian music industry and beyond. Well, focusing on the continent, black music, original black music from the continent. As always, my name is Tiae. Good to have you guys here. If you've been listening to this long enough, you're wondering what is the extra excitement coming from me today. I mean, the No Stand Zone podcast is a year old this week, February 5th to be exact. I turned on the mic on this here, and here we are, 1 year after. And I cannot begin to fathom how far we've come. It's just been really ridiculous. None of this is possible without every one of you tuning in and downloading every single week. And wait, let's even talk about that. Downloading and listening. Now, I started this just pressing play on the microphone because I felt like things need to be said and it was not being covered in things that I felt needed to be said were not being said. And 1 year later, this is mind blowing. You know what? Do you know how many countries we're in now? We're in 19 countries around the world. What? 19 countries around the world over a year ago, right? 19 countries. And what? How many continents? 4 continents. This is mind blowing. We've finally touched the country in South America, talking about where? Venezuela. Shout out to whoever it is, wherever it is you are in Venezuela, downloading this podcast and getting the latest, the best analysis from Nigerian African music. I could not ask for more. Any more from you guys. You guys are making. You've literally made me. I can't begin to put it into words. Just made me feel a lot more accomplished, that I'm not just speaking into into thin air. You guys actually enjoying the content coming from me every single week. 19 countries. Who could have thought about that? A year ago when I started this podcast, right? Over 1,000 downloads. And 44 episodes later. I mean, it's just incredible. Thank you to every single one of you for making the past year. I mean, I could not even picture. I could not fathom. In fact, the thing is, if someone had asked me a year ago where I thought this podcast would be and what even my projections were, I couldn't have imagined this. We're touching every single continent. This is we're not even playing. Every single continent, from North America, South America, Africa, Europe, we're touching Asia as well. Yeah, 5, all the continents are being touched right now. Well, we still need to get someone from Australia to listen. But come on, I couldn't have asked for any more. Thank you to every single one of you. The No Stand Zone podcast, a year. Oh my, incredible. Thank you to every single one of you. I remember when I was thinking about starting this, and I was just confused about where to go. And shout out to the folks at Acast for hosting us every single week, making sure the podcast get to every single DSP from wherever it is you're listening from. Either if you're on Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple, all of this is able to get to you because of Acast. So I mean, shout out to the folks there. They never felt disappointed by the work that has been done. Incredible. And by the way, I'm not being paid. I just feel so grateful because I was so confused at the beginning of this, right? I honestly did not do a lot of research for months about how to host this podcast thing. I'm coming from the radio world, and so everything's kind of new-ish. Doing this by myself and uploading all of this every single week. The platform here has been so easy, and just click a button and it goes to all these places. But the biggest thank you is to every single one of you that tune in every single week. It's a different thing for what you think you have something that will be valuable to people. And it's a different thing for people to actually find value in your product, right? Because this is a product. The podcast is a product. And every single one of you keep buying every single week, basically, right? You keep buying and you keep showing support. And I think that's more than I can ask for. The past year, I've gotten a lot of DMs and messages from you guys talking about how incredible some of the episodes were. So, I mean, what else can I ask for? To all the guests that have joined me, well, basically two guests from Tiae to Tiae Lasisi, who've made this podcast a little better as well. Well, not a little better, a lot better, bringing their expertise in to every one of you from 19 different countries. I cannot appreciate you enough. Over 1,000 all-time downloads and listening from different platforms, from Acast, Apple. I mean, before I keep on repeating myself, I couldn't have imagined that a year from now this community will be as strong as it is. You keep coming back, and I'm grateful that, well, I can keep coming here every single week. And talking about that, I wasn't here last week, but I still noticed that you guys were catching up on past episodes that you've missed. That's exactly how it's supposed to be, right? And the thing is, I felt very down last week, like really, really sick. I don't even know what it was. Maybe it's the weather. This time of year is just a little bit, a little cold. It wasn't the flu or anything. It's just that it was just that day I just felt so down, body just ached, having a lot of headaches, and it wasn't like I was feeling it from the beginning of the day. Towards the evening time, it just started, and it was so heavy, and there was no way I was going to come on the mic with that kind of energy that was low, basically. So thank you to every single one of you guys for holding it down and for catching up on past episodes that you have missed. And I see that the one that is still exciting to most people is the one of the 10 years, right? My predictions for the past 10 years. So shout out to you guys. It's still, one of the top ones that a lot of people were trying to catch up on because we didn't put out any episode last week. The 10 years, the beginning of the defining decade, right, for that I put out there for Nigerian music and the industry, the Afrobeats industry. I noticed that you guys are catching up on that, so shout out to every single one of you. I see that you also enjoying the last one from for 2 weeks ago, the Young, Famous, and African, and the one we talked about, the Afro alternative genre in Nigeria as well. So thanks to every single one of you. I'm looking at it right now, so shout out to everyone. Over 1,000 downloads. I mean, what else can I ask for at this point? A new year is ahead of us, and of course I'm gonna try to make it as exciting for every single one of us as possible. There is still so much to cover. Some of them there isn't enough time in every episode, and I keep pushing them forward and new things keep happening. But trust me, I will give you my opinion on the things that I feel are very most important. The things that are not, I would not necessarily just ignore it, but I will tell you the reason why I'm not talking about it. And today's episode, for sure, there are a few things or one or two things that I wouldn't be giving a lot of my energy to, because I think it's not as important to the advancement of the Nigerian music industry and to the music industry on the continent, that I wouldn't talk about it too much. I'm sorry, a couple of you already know about that, but we'll get to that later on in the show. But I needed to get all the thank yous and appreciation and all of that out of the way, because I didn't want to go ahead with the show without doing that, without for sure reaching out to you guys and saying thank you very much for your time every single week. I know it takes a lot of commitment, and it takes a lot of commitment, that for sure. I also listen to podcasts as well, and I usually feel like I take out my time to actually listen to them, because I support those shows as well, from music to all the genres that I listen to. I'll take my time to be dedicated to it. So when I see folks actually downloading and listening, it tells me, I know, because I'm also on that part and on that level where there are other things that I'm dedicated to. So thank you very much for your time and for making this past year phenomenal and enjoyable, and making it really worth the time put in and the effort, right? In the past year, we've achieved a lot. I mean, we started with just being on Spotify and acast.com, like going on the website. And by the way, guys, there's a website, right? It's acast.com/nostandpod, right? And it's available. You can listen to it if you're not on any of the DSPs, right? So we started with just Acast and Spotify, basically the website and Spotify. And over time, we included Apple. Over time, we covered so many other, like reached other DSPs as well. And then the most recent one was being on iHeartRadio. I think that is a game changer. The iHeart is probably one of the biggest platforms out there for podcasts and music and all of that. So to eventually be able to lock down that platform and be active there, for me that was a big accomplishment as well, because I'm gonna even tell you that because I'm doing all of this by myself. Honestly, this is probably something I should have done maybe earlier, but I'm catching up to this, like I'm learning some of these things and catching up in real time, that whenever I just get a hang of how to go about it, I go ahead and do it, just to make sure we're able to be available wherever you are, and make it comfortable for you to download and listen to the podcast. We also on YouTube as well, the No Stand Zone podcast with Tiae on YouTube. So please go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. I will really appreciate the support. Now, what happens on the YouTube channel? Because some of you are wondering, well, you don't do video. You're not, we don't see you. So what is the essence of the YouTube? Now, I've mentioned before that I didn't want perfect to be the enemy of progress, right? I've never been the one to be out there on visual because I'm a radio guy. I'm very comfortable putting out audio and being good at that and knowing how to produce that. Being able to produce visuals is a whole different ball game, and I didn't want to start and then not be able to keep up, right? Because the content, the audio content, I think it's the most important, and I've mentioned over time that I would eventually get there to the point where the moment I start with the video as well, trust me, it's the way I am. I don't like to start and stop halfway and things like that. If I'm going to go, I'm going 100% and I'm going to be dedicated to it, right? So we're on YouTube right now, and what I do is I put out now you have the full episodes on YouTube, so you can listen to it on YouTube at your free time. I also put out short clips of different segments of the things we talk about, like my thoughts on Nana Fofi's album from last year, Love Deeply, is actually on YouTube right now. Short 10 minutes. The maximum for any of the short clips is 10 minutes. So I made it like that. So you on the go, you can quickly catch up on different segments that you might have missed. If you don't want to listen to the whole episode, just want to catch one or two things I said about a specific thing, that also is available for you on YouTube as well. So that's what the YouTube is for right now, to kind of increase the reach as well, make it easy for you to digest the pod in small bits of 10 minutes or shorter, and then you also have the full episode as well available on YouTube. And I will promise you that the moment I'm able to set all that up and be sure that I will be able to put that out every single week, as well as put it out on all the social media platforms like on TikTok and Instagram and all of that. Trust me, I go 100% the moment I start one thing. So I don't want that to come and go. The moment we're able to put all that, set up all of that, for sure you will get that from me. But in the meantime, let's just enjoy what we have now. Most important thing is I'm able to give you the info and the content every single week. And if you have ideas for me, see right here, there's no ego here. So if you feel there are ways that we can get better on the pod, don't hesitate to reach out to me, right? I'm on Twitter right now. It's No Stand Pod. That's the Twitter handle for the podcast, as well as you can reach me. Like my personal handle on Twitter is Tiae Sound. That's TIAE Sound on Twitter. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. My DMs are open. If you appreciate the show, don't hesitate to show love. And if you think there are ways that we can get better, I'm always open to that as well. Like, there isn't, there isn't any shame there. So we're both here to, I'm here to give you the content, and you show appreciation, or you tell us how we can better. It's a mutual thing. All right. So I just need to, let's get all of that out of the way. So thank you very much once again for making the year an incredible one. Over 1,000 downloads, 19 countries and counting, 5 continents right now. And the crazy thing is, I remember mentioning 2 weeks ago that we needed to tell your friends in South America to listen to the podcast, and voila, it was just a shock to me, and excitement as well, seeing that from Venezuela, folks from Venezuela actually downloading the pod as well. So thank you very much. And this also speaks to the acceptance or the popularity of the genre Afrobeats itself, the pop music from Nigeria. And this tells me that there are people actually interested in what is happening with the genre, with the music. And you would, this, I just remembered this. This happened this past week. I was in contact with someone, and the person was, wait, you're Nigerian? I was like, yeah. And the person that asked me the weirdest, I don't think anyone has ever asked me, anyone outside of Nigeria has ever asked me this question before. And the person was like, do you know bracket? My gosh. Now, if you don't know who bracket is, my goodness, then you need, it just tells me you're probably new, and that to the Nigerian music scene, and it's okay. But this lady blew my mind, asking me, do I know who Bracket is? Now, Bracket is one of the groups that existed in the Nigerian music industry in the 2010s, the early 2010s, right? Late 2000s, early 2010s, that's 8, 9, 10, 11-ish. That's when they were really involved. They were very, very popular in the industry. Now, they didn't stay for too long. A group of brothers, twins, I think they were, and they had maybe 2 hit songs, 2 really big songs at the time. I think one of them was Yori Yori. That was probably their biggest songs. And I haven't even listened to that song in a really long time. And so when she mentioned it, and this lady is from the Caribbean, by the way, that region. And when she mentioned it to me, I was like, whoa. How do you know Bracket? And they were like, well, I know a lot of the music that existed at the time. And then she started to mention P Square. I was like, oh my goodness. It just gave me chills. And this tells me that a lot of people have been vibing to the music before even it became as big as it is today, right? That, the music has been touching people's lives in different parts of the world, even before now, before social media and before the explosion of the genre, especially in the US, because that's, I think, that has been the biggest move for the genre, in the past, half a decade or so. The fact that it's been able to cross over into the US, and the US is a big market. It's a paying market, right? So that that does something for your genre. If a lot of people in the US are invested in it as well, it and the showbiz and all of it starts to look like it's a new thing. There's a way you're able to package it if you're, reaching people from the US. So hearing this lady talk about it, it just kind of changed, or not changed, but kind of renewed my kind of the way I talk about this music, in the sense that it is reaching people. The US is not the only market that exists, and it looks like that's where our artists are just focusing on right now. And I think every one of them that has been doing that, I think they're losing themselves in some way, right? They're losing themselves in some way. We're going to talk about one of them in a bit, who released an album this past 2 weeks. We're going to talk about that. But just generally, if today your goal is the US market, I can tell you that you are going down really soon. You're going to lose your way really soon. Because I know the Afrobeats base, the paying base that is loyal every single year, is in Europe, especially the UK. The US is really big, and a lot of, I mean, especially like our big artists have had to put themselves in pretzels just to get some sort of, spark going on in that market. Right? I mean, it's not a bad thing to reach there, but I think if for artists that are just coming up or in the middle of their career who haven't gotten there yet, don't leave the base, the root of what makes you relevant. Like the UK, Europe is still a very big market. Like the Caribbean is still a big market, and you have people who are there who have been listening to the music long time, right? Who have been listening to the music long time, and who can appreciate where it is today. You don't have to twist yourself into pretzels. They know where you're coming from, and they can appreciate what the music is today. And I asked, and apparently this lady, I asked her, like, wait, so outside of the really old music from the 2010s and all of that, have you been listening to the music recently? And I mean recently as in, do you even know folks like Joe Boy or anything like that? That was kind of like where my mind was at, like those kind of artists. And she hasn't even been listening to any of the new artists. For me, that says a lot. As much as we've gained a lot of people, it also tells me we've lost a lot of people as well. We've lost a lot of people. I don't think this has actually gone to the surface of conversations for Afrobeats, in this the past 5 years. We've gained a lot of fans. We've also lost people who have just like disengaged from listening to the music that exists today. Right? And I think the conversations we've always had as to whether Afrobeats is stale or people are not listening, I don't think it's only just a Nigerian problem. I don't think that problem or that problem that people have with the genre today, I don't think it's just only Nigerians that are having that problem. It's obvious, it's evident. I can take from this lady that she's probably not the one in her family or in her circle that listens to this music. And I want to believe that if any of the people in your circle have like they're listening to the new music, you probably would know it as well. But she didn't. I mean, I'm just trying to imagine that a lot of people have lost interest in what the music that exists today as well. And for me, I think the talent has also changed. I mean, this is not even an insult on those people who exist today. The talent that existed in the early, from early 2000s to to 2013 or even to 2010s, the talent that exists today is not even compared. We can't even compare to the talent that existed at the time. From the period I just mentioned, from the 2000 to like 20 teens. I think there's been a drop in the talent from like people who are able to perform. And I'm not talking about just one or two artists. I am talking about overall as an industry. I think the performing artistry has been lost. I think the songwriting artistry has been lost as well. And I think the music, I feel for sure that the music has also dropped. Just the quality of the music has dropped. Now, that doesn't say the music that exists today, generally overall, is not still really good, and it's not still, good enough, like good quality to put out there, because the music is still selling, it's still able to sell today. But a lot of the artists that we're seeing today, at least personally, and I've spoken about it on this pod, that a lot of the artists cannot give me more than one project. A lot of the artists that I see today cannot give me one-on-one project. A lot of the artists do not have any individual like identity. What makes you? There's the tendency for people to dub and sound the same way. And I'm talking about even the people at the top of the game today. There's still people who are sounding like each other. Now, some of the music we love, we enjoy, but the truth has to be said. There has been a drop in a lot of the artists that exist today cannot perform. If I put them on the stage, a lot of them cannot perform. A lot of them are struggling to captivate the crowd without having some hype man on the background shout and say 1, 2, 3. A lot of people are struggling there. I mean, like I mentioned, in the songwriting as well, the quality of the music as well has dropped. All of these things, that's in comparison to what existed before. I mean, these are just the things I feel like needs to be said. When I had this conversation with this lady, it got me to just sit back and think about it. Like, wait, how is it that someone that for that to be the, now she didn't mention P Square or Two Face. These are the biggest artists at the time. She mentioned Bracket. This is an artist that didn't stay in the industry for too long, had just 2 big songs and kind of faded out of the industry. So this is someone that was really, really invested, not just in the music, and I think she also mentioned she was invested in the movie industry as well. So this is someone who really kind of knew what was going on in the 2010s without technology and social media to tell you. This is word of mouth, radio, and people actually doing the job to make sure the music gets across to different places, right? And we have those people hearing about it, and they're not interested in the music that existed today, right? So I'm looking at that. I'm saying that has to be some of the reasons. These reasons are we can't just say it's irrelevant, right? I mean, we've seen in the past couple of years, our artists go to festivals and not able to perform well. And some of them even eventually struggle until they're able to at least get it right. Right? So, I mean, I don't even know how I got on that tangent, but I just needed to share that with you really quick. So, let's dive into some of the things. What have we got to talk about today? Man, the time we've got. Hopefully, we're able to get through to everything I want us to cover today. So real quick, let's start with the new music that we've got. I always like to start with that, and then we get into 2 of the projects that I had the time to really dive in and think about this past week. And then we kind of round up with some other happenings around the Nigerian music industry. So what am I listening to right now? See. I was just talking, right, about new music. I was just talking about songwriting, right? And I mean, I've been talking about this for weeks right now, as why it's important, why songwriting is important, and what it actually does to the music, right? And Peruzzi. See, if you're out there, you do not know who this brother is. He's one of the most incredible songwriters we've ever had in this industry. He's not been spoken about enough. And I would say part of it is his fault because he doesn't really put out projects like that. I think he's been kind of hands off the past of a few years now. But I've always respected him for his ability to write good music. And oh my goodness, Peruzzi is fantastic. He has this new song out titled Mad Me. You see, you know what the thing about songwriting is? Let me just quickly mention this. And I think most people, because most of the people that are out there have no idea about this music. They think songwriting sometimes is about like you putting English together, which it is far from that. Songwriting basically is just finding new ways to tell the same stories, right? Finding new ways to tell age-old long stories. Now, this song titled Mad Me, the title of the song already tells you what it's about. The girl is mesmerizing him, but Peruzzi has a special way of just doing this that just amazes me. The melodies in this song, the harmonies, is just incredible. I cannot speak enough about how good of a job Peruzzi did on this song. It sounds crisp as well. Incredible production, I have to say. But man, Peruzzi, I am so proud of you, man. I mean, I just wish that he actually does more, like has a project out, because he really doesn't do that enough. I think he doesn't do it enough. The last time he had a project was like 5 years ago. I mean, it's already been too long, way, 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 way too long. Um, I mean, he's written for some of the best in the industry, and I just wish that he actually gets a lot more recognition for his work than he actually does right now. He's one of the best to do it. I cannot speak enough. There's a song he released last year with Odumodu Black titled Insobu. It's like it doesn't even matter the language. It's just you being able to tell the story. And this song Insobu, it has a different feel entirely from the Mad Me, which sounds more pop leaning, right? This Insobu sounded more traditional, like, with the traditional Igbo sound, right? The instruments being played, right? And even at that, I listen to it, and you can tell that this is someone who knows how to tell a good story. Basically, it's what it is. And I listen to these Mad Me as well, and I'm like, this song is fantastic. It's been on repeat for me because I just listen to it and I'm like, this is how you tell a story. And he's not saying something that is never, he's not telling a story that has never been told before. It's still around the same, the girl makes you feel good, the girl does this, the girl does that, right? But when you're able to tell it in a new way, right? When you're not using the same slangs everybody has used, you keep people engaged, right? Not just people like on a general, but people who have an ear for music. You keep them engaged because they can hear what you're saying. They're like, oh my gosh, this is actually good music. Basically, is what it is. This is actually good music. I don't want to say I'm impressed because I know what to expect from him, but I think maybe because we don't get a lot of this quality often from the industry. It's like when he comes out, it's like, oh my goodness, oh Peruzzi, right? So Mad Me is an incredible record. I hope this is a run towards an album. I cannot wait to hear what he's got to give. And the thing is, he comes from a time when there's all those artists that came at the same time with him. Like, he has a project from 2018. I mean, there are a few artists from 2018 time, 2016, who are not in conversations today, who are not as relevant in the industry, right, as he is today. So it's really remarkable to hear and to know that he's still able to deliver an incredible record. This is not just a song. I would say it's a record in the sense that the incredible songwriting on the back of a really good beat, really good vibe, really good melodies and production as well. So Peruzzi, for sure, man, for sure. I hope an album is coming on the tail of all the release of this singles. But Mad Me is a jam, is a vibe, and incredible songwriting for sure. Another song that I caught my attention this week before we talk about the albums. Oh my goodness. NSG featuring Livia on the song titled Venice. You see, let me quickly talk about give you my thoughts on NSG real quick. This is one of those groups, and it's a rap group, by the way, which is rare. In fact, a group today of artists together is rare in any country in the world. It's not a popular thing to have a group of people actually stay together and be actually actively be giving you music right now. There are not too many. I mean, we have like the Coldplays. I can't think of any other group right now that is actively in music. I mean, you guys will probably, maybe any, but there are not too many. And it makes my point. There are not too many groups like the way it was in the early 2000s, where you had so many groups releasing music together. I mean, we even had P Square here. I just spoke about Bracket, right? So I mean, we had the Plantation Boys earlier in Nigerian music industry. as well. So we've had our own groups also, but this group, rap group, they're Nigerians, but with roots in the UK. That's actually where they are based, and they release their music from. And I'm telling you, in the past 3 years or so, I've been so mesmerized by their music. Now, I haven't been one that I would say I'm OG, been with them maybe from 5 or 10 years, as long as they've been active in the music industry. I haven't been on them for that long, but I've been with them long enough to know that they give incredible music. I remember mentioning at the time that their album, Area Boys, from 2 years ago, for me, it was one of my top albums of the year. And I can tell you that not too many people had that album at the top. Because not too many people actually even took the time to listen to the project. I think that area, and they released the deluxe, I think last year. They released the deluxe last year. Personally, I think the original one, Area Boys, was just a phenomenal project. I mean, they had a song with Sheyi Vibes, Mansa Musa. I mean, the top, one of the top songs in that project was one is Le Bianca and J5 titled Tonight. Oh my goodness. It was just an incredible project. Nella Rose, Zombie, Toxic Love, My Only. They had Lonely with Sakodi as well. Coleon with Odumodu Black, and Still Banglers. I mean, just a phenomenal project. I cannot even begin to tell you how I feel about it from 2023. Phenomenal project. And I've always had them in high regard. I mean, personally, they're just really, really good artists. And while I was listening to this song across the weekend, it got me thinking. This conversation around rap in Nigeria, and I see people put so many names. I mean, outside of MI, and I'm looking at, I have NSG right up there as one of the top rap groups or artists, let me put it that way, in the country, at least Nigeria, I would say. So for me personally, it's MI, it's Show Them Camp, and I have NSG right next there. Maybe NSG and Olamide at that level. And I know some people will feel like that's blasphemy, but for me, I mean, shout out to Olamide, the impact as a producer and all of that. But for the music, nah. I personally, I don't have him up there because I'm looking at, nah. Maybe, okay. I'm thinking, well, it will be a battle. Either way, 3 or 4. NSG for me is up there as one of my favorite groups or one of my favorite artists ever. Like from Nigeria, for me, just personally. And then when we talk about rap, it's a different ball game. I have them there. I mean, for me as artists, there will be for sure in my top 10. Let me just put it that way because I don't want to start thinking about it. But as rap artists, they're my top 5. NSG is in my top 5 for sure. And it's just the dedication to being original. The dedication to staying original. I cannot stress that enough. It's like when I press play on an NSG song, I know what I'm gonna get. At the same time, I don't know what I'm gonna get. In the sense that I know the style, right? I know what the delivery is gonna be. I know they know how to rap and give you bops. At the same time, you're still eager to press play to know what they got to give you. Do you get what I mean? It's not like, I know what they're gonna give me, then I can as well skip the song. It's like I know what I'm gonna get because it quality, right, in the raps and all of, in the bars and the lines and just dedication to the craft. At the same time, you're getting good music every single time. And this is not a group trying to please anybody. It is so original. The same with Show Them Camp. It is so original. How do you have the palm wine series for with Show Them Camp, right? And you have Palm One Music Part 1, Palm One Music 2, Palm One Music 3. Right? You have these 3. And you're still getting the original, but the music sounds new every time. Not everybody gets that. Not everybody is able, can fathom that mentally and know how important that is. That is how you build your career. That's how you build longevity in the industry, where we know what to get from you and you're able to make it fresh and new every time because you're working with different people, you're collaborating, and you're building your craft as well. It doesn't just sound stale. The subject matter is also interesting. It might, some of the things you're speaking about might be the same, but you have a new way of saying it, and we're right there with you. For me, that's how I see NSG. This group they're incredible. They're a pleasure to listen to. And this new song, the moment I hit play, my gosh, the way the song starts with the instrumental and just the production as well. Shout out to Livia. She did an incredible job with her soulful voice on this track. My gosh, I had to go to a page. I don't know her. I had to go to a page and be like, wait, how are you able to sing this good? Why does your voice sound so pleasant? Oh my gosh, Livia. Oh my gosh, Livia. I'm keeping you anyway. This is an incredible record. Incredible record, man. I cannot wait. As well, they also have an album coming out soon. The album is titled Big Six, I think it's titled. And the what's it called? The list. How do you call that? The track list. Oh, yes, that's what I'm talking about. The preview for the track list is already out, and they're featuring tons of artists. Psycho YP, Blanco, who else that they featuring? They're featuring Jarek, Fino as well. I cannot wait for this project. It comes out when? February 28th. Shout out to my brother. That's actually his birthday. Comes out February 28th. We're gonna wait to see that, but I really cannot wait for the release of this album. It's got entitled The Big Six. Shout out to NSG, guys. I love this song. And well, I don't want to go into all the rappers and how they could be better, right? And how this group has been able to give you bangers, like give you real bop. At the same time, keep the audience coming back every single time. See, no matter what your style is, you have to stay original. See, let me not go far, because some of the things I'm going to talk about, I'm probably going to pick one or two things in while I talk about the next artist that I have right now. So I listened to two big projects this past 2 weeks that I was out. Let's start with this man with the album titled Black and White. I'm talking about no other than Tiae Apala. Tiae Apala on this album titled Black and White. 7 songs, straight away, 21 minutes and change. This is... I was listening to this and the smile on my face, it's like from ear to ear. This is what I'm talking about when I say originality. Right? Now, let me use a football analogy for you. Tiae Apala basically is this album, this Black and White album. Just to explain what he did on this album. Basically, it's like he went for football trials and they put different obstacles in front of him, right? And they're like, okay, go ahead, get through this obstacle. right? And he goes through it and then sets personal obstacles for himself after and then exceeds that. Basically, is what happened. I don't know. This is very few people would be able to introduce themselves to the industry, to the mainstream, introduce themselves to mainstream better than Tiae Apala did on this album, because this is just phenomenal. It's like this is Tiae. The originality here can be seen in different phases. It's like you put him in shallow water, he excels. Put him in medium, he excels. Put him in deep water, he excels. Put him in ocean deep, he excels, right? And then put him where only like sunlight cannot even reach, and then he also excels there. What he basically does on this project is he flirts with different like genres musically, like instrumentals. Basically, is what happens, and it still remains original, and he kills it every single time. So he works with more North American sound, with like the R&B ish, which is how he starts the album with the song titled "Sorry." It's basically Caesar could have been on this beat. This could have been a Caesar record. This could have been a Caesar record if it wasn't Tiae singing and someone played this beat for you. There's the instrumentals. You probably say, "Oh, this is wait. When did Caesar release a record, or is Caesar planning on releasing a record?" And Caesar, I'm talking about the lady R&B artist in the U.S. And Tiae Apala comes, and in his really original and unique way, he's able to tell us his own story. It's incredible what he's done here, right? And then on track number 2, he takes on the traditional Afrobeat sound, and he just kills it there. And then on track 3, he goes on to take on the sort of the traditional, almost like Fuji leaning track there, and he just kills it as well. Oh my gosh. On track 4, it takes on the more modern, like another version of what Afropop sounds like today. But it's still him. It's still him. Like, you don't lose this kind of artist will stay long in the industry. This is what this tells me. Because what happens here is, in different, whatever the instrumental is, he's able to break it down with his with his originality. He's able to bring it down to earth. Whatever foreign beat you give to him, or foreign instrumental, he's able to bring it down to, like, make it as simple as possible. On track 5, it takes on a like a trap beat, like the UK trap beat, sort of. He almost is rapping on this track 5, titled Metusela. He's almost rapping, or on the borderline of that. Man, he is an incredibly talented individual. He's incredibly talented. I cannot even begin to tell you guys enough about how I feel about Tiae Apala. He is an incredible artist. Now, let me give you guys an analogy real quick. Now, if I don't know how many of you have any idea about paintings, right? The one you see at the museum, right? Those artists, the painters. Now, one of the things that people notice, for example, if you bring an old painting, they can tell you, oh, with the strokes, right? This certain painter, he paints, this particular artist paints with certain, there's this technique he uses when painting, right? So irrespective of what the canvas is, what the background is, whether they're painting on whatever the thing is, it's small, it's big, it's giant, it's whatever it is. From looking deeply at the technique in the strokes, you can tell, oh, this is so and so artist. This is so and so painter. This is so and so painter, right? And I think that is vital for longevity in the music business as well. Because sounds change. You need to be original. Your strokes. We need to be able to see it irrespective of what you're painting on. Right? That is the artists that stay, that have longevity in the industry, in the music business, are the artists that are that way, where we know you, like, either it's the sound, how you sing, the style. There is something that makes you you, so that irrespective of what happens, you're able to move on and adapt, or not even adapt. You're able to break it down and own it. That is the reason why folks like Two-Face and P-Square, Wizkid, Davido, and have lasted for so long. They've been in this industry. It looks like they've been in this industry for so long. I mean, Two-Face still released a record, 2 months ago? And he's still Two-Face. The strokes is still there. The talent, the way he sings, the style is still there. His ability to tell the unique stories uniquely is still there. The sound has changed from 2010 or even 2015 or 2004, but it's still Two-Face. I look at Tiae Apala the same way, and I'm like, this is Tiae Apala. Like, there's so much talent here. There's so much, like, I listen to this, and I'm looking at anyone who hears this is scary. Not scary in a bad way, scary in a good way. Because he's able to break down whatever the canvas is. He's able to overshadow the canvas with his painting, with the strokes, and not adapt to the canvas, and not adapt to what he's painting on, and say, oh, because I'm painting on this, let me change my signature strokes. No. The painting might be different. The canvas might be different, but my strokes remain the same. That's what makes this painting valuable. Virtually anybody could do any painting, right? If someone is talented enough, they could draw a painting. But sometimes what makes a certain painting more valuable is because of the strokes. It's because of the style. And when people say different things, sort of things, if I could deviate a bit, for someone like Odumodu Black, I'm like, you guys don't know. He's going to be here a long time because the strokes, people recognize the strokes. The music is going to change, but he has to stay original. And I honestly don't give a damn what the industry says. As long as what you're putting out is still good, it's still quality, still good enough, right? We're not saying, oh, just give us rubbish painting. The painting still has to be good. We still can look at it and be like, okay, this is good stuff. This is good work. So I look at Tiae Apala and I'm so impressed by this. This is such incredible work from him. I can go on and on about this project, man. I can go on and on about this project. I was left flabbergasted basically while listening to this project because I didn't know this is what to expect. Now, I've heard a few singles from him in the past few months, right? I think the one I'm trying to find. Yeah, I think I'd not really heard a lot from him, but I think someone featured him. I'm trying to remember where I actually first heard his music from, but he actually had released a music album like in 2022. I probably should listen to this. I haven't I didn't know of his music back then, but he's definitely on my radar right now. I'm gonna catch up on the things he has released in the past for sure, but this album is now, I mean, this is like, you all need to pay attention. And I'm looking at this industry. There's very few as original as he is. I am so impressed with the work that he put into this album. This is such an incredible way to bust the door down and be like, I am here. Whatever the obstacle is, let me show you what I can do in different situations. Both the ones that are familiar to you and the ones that are not. I will scale it. I will get my ball control is second to none. Basically, is what he's saying. If you need me to take shots, I will take shots and I will hit the back of the net every single time. Is what he did on this project. I am so impressed with the work done. Tiae Apala, you're definitely on my radar. Welcome to the mainstream, is what I will say. Anyone who is not paying attention, I don't know what to say. I cannot take you seriously if you're not paying attention to Tiae Apala right now. Incredible work, incredible story writing, songwriting as well. I forgot to mention that. Incredible songwriting as well. I mean, when someone is able to break down music like this, especially on this first track, titled "Story," I think I would struggle to see better way to introduce yourself to start a project like the way he did on this story. Now, for someone who had not heard a lot of his music, to see that and even the song I'd heard of him before, I didn't know he was capable of doing this on this kind of beat that slows down, and it's like, I'm not just here to give you bop, right? Jams. I'm able to slow it down and still get my message across. It's incredible work, I would say, from Tiae Apala. I really cannot begin to mention all the ways I've been listening to this project over and over again, trying to be like, how is he able to do this? I hope my hope for him is he stays original and he doesn't go ahead trying to conform to whatever the new sound or the new audience is to the new audience of Afrobeats or Nigerian music is tomorrow, right? Because I mean, a lot of people are changing their style now. Change your style, another style, just to please the audience instead of staying original. If the thing is, you have a better shot staying who you are, and well, the audience doesn't really go with that, than you trying to conform a certain way and trying to please the audience. The audience will see from far away that you're not original, and that's worse. I think that's worse, because at some point the audience can look at you and be like, eventually, sometimes you can grow on people. And I'm not saying like grow on people like your project grows on people. I say as an artist, you might eventually grow on people. When people, eventually some people are gonna get it, some people they are not. There's nothing you can do about it. All right, that's all I'm gonna. I just needed to take a breather there. Let's go to the next project that I've got for you real quick. Oh my gosh. We're really way beyond the time that I usually like to get, but I mean, there's no rush. We'll probably hit on it next week, but I want to touch on this next project real quick. Now, with everything I have said about Tiae Apala, my goodness, this next project I want to talk about. This, I am heartbroken. Basically, I'm heartbroken. There are very few people who have spoken about Qing Madi as much as I have in this industry. Very few people, and rightfully so, for very good reasons. By the fact that I cannot count two people better than her vocally in this industry. I cannot count three people better at songwriting in this industry. There isn't any new artist who has come out in the past 2 years that has got the discography, that has got the talent, and that have got the talent that Qing Madi has. I mean, those are just facts that cannot be disputed. And so, rightfully so, I have spoken about her several times and how incredible of an artist she is for someone who's just, one, coming into the industry, and two, for someone as young as she is, because she's just 19. And like I've said several times, you shouldn't be this good at 19 as a performer, as a singer, as a songwriter. Being this good at 19 is not usually heard of in any country. When you hear people sound this good, it's special. So rightfully so, She has had me really spellbound. And so when I heard this, that she was going to release an album really soon, I was one of the people who could not wait, salivating for months, right? As to, I cannot wait for it to drop, right? And I think I'm one of the very few who would be honest about people's work, right? Every single time, 10 out of 10. There's nothing in it for me. And so when the album came out, I kind of dove head straight into it. Like, okay, what has she got to offer? She released a couple of songs before the release of the album titled I Am the Blueprint. In fact, I went further than most people would say. I went ahead to say that the title of the album couldn't be more correct. That she is the blueprint of how a new artist should introduce themselves into the industry. She's a blueprint of what it means to break a new artist. The way it has been done meticulously for the past 2-3 years or 2.5 years, whatever the case may be. She is the blueprint for that. In fact, I support that. And when I saw the title of the album, I was like, well, it couldn't be more like nail on the head, you know? Right there. She released a couple of songs that were really incredible and kind of like, oh my gosh, I hope like if this is what she's gunning for, this is going to be an interesting project. Like she released 4 songs in anticipation of this album, 13 tracks. And that's where I get to what the album itself was like. Let me take out the 4 songs that were released. The 4 songs we already know. Ali Bomaye, Akanchawa, I think Goosebumps, and Favorite Cycle. Now, my review of this album is taking out these 4 songs that the reason why I'm taking them out is because I have listened to these songs over and over again. I cannot tell you how many times. That's where I put her, how much I regard her as an artist and how talented I think she is, right? In fact, I've given suggestions on social media, on Twitter, as to how she could, even before the release of this album, months ago, right? And so I was really anticipating this project. And I have to tell you that I'm heartbroken by the direction this project decided to go. And the reason why it's kind of like I'm feeling more heartbroken than like angry or disappointed is because I know the potential. It's almost like, I don't know, you guys get what I mean. It's like I know what you can do. That it is disappointing and heartbreaking that this is the direction you decide to go. And it's not that they don't know the right direction, because she has been featured on different songs in the past few years, right? She has a song titled with DJ Neptune titled Honest, where she killed it. Right? She has a song with Chloe where, I mean, this is someone from a different culture, but she still held her own. Still staying original, staying true to who she is. Right? She went head to head with one of the most incredible songwriters we've ever seen in the Nigerian music industry, with Benson, and she held her own as well. She wrote one of the best songs from last year. For me, one of the best singles from last year, Problem Choke with 1010. She killed it, staying original. In fact, she went head to head with one of the best R&B singers Nigeria has ever made, that ever come out of Nigeria, Qing Madi, head to head with Pristin Pablo from Canada, and she made the song memorable. She went head to head with Simi and OG, Joshua Baraka, and she still held her own. So I'm looking at all of this and be like, it is, how possible is it that that artist that gave me all of this back to back, next, like just consistently giving me originality, incredible songwriting, boldness, bravery, domination of dominating records, irrespective of whether the person is an OG, irrespective of whether the person is a better singer than she is, irrespective that the person has been in this industry longer, she dominates every record she is in. She's featured in or she's on for the past 2.5 years. She released an EP, right? No, an album. Well, she started an album from last year. 10 songs of incredible music, from American Love to Chargy to Why, I mean, to Sins for You, featuring she featured one of Nigeria's dominant voices artists today, Kiss Daniel, and she didn't feel she wasn't lost in the record. That's how she's able to stand her own, stand with the biggest artists. And so with all of that, I could not in a million years imagine that with that this album, this is what comes after all of that. And it's not like, oh, it's a terrible project. I wouldn't put it in that language, right? I will put it this way. I am disappointed in her, and then I am angry with whoever decided that this is the direction to go next. Because there is no way you cannot give this kind of quality back to back and left to you to release an album after stamping yourself in the mainstream. This is what you do. It's mind-blowing to me that after you have such an incredible project from last year, right, self-titled Qing Madi, that you decide this is the direction to go. I don't know how you make that decision, because what makes this album disappointing is not because, for me, the majority of the reasons comes from the direction of the music. That's where the disappointment comes for me. It's not necessarily from like the production or her, because Qing Madi is still Qing Madi. She still killed it vocally. She still has a unique way of songwriting. It is evident here. So those are not the things I'm criticizing. What makes this album not good enough or mediocre is the direction of the overall music. Why not stay original? Like I mentioned, the strokes, the style of painting is what makes the painting valuable. It's not necessarily what you're painting. I mean, you could paint a cup. Da Vinci today paints a cup. It will probably go for millions. And someone in other artists who is better could do the same thing and nobody will look at it. It is you. You are the product, Qing Madi. And I think that was lost in all of this. There was a desire to attract a certain audience that you don't need, that wouldn't respect you if you're not original. I heard her trying to do traditional North American R&B. That is not you. You lose your audience the moment you do that. We don't need any of that. I mean, what happened to you? You're the one who wrote Why. You're the one who wrote C Finish. But I went back to back several songs here, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm heartbroken at how this album turned out. Right? Because the song for me, now, so many is different for other people. But for me, the songs I'd listened to, right? I just quickly hit forward past those songs because I'd listened to them so many times that I just wanted to hear the new stuff. Now, I know so many people don't like her music like that, But personally, I mean, she released the 4 songs in anticipation of the release. She released like a pack of 4 songs together. So for me, I was already listening to those 4 songs just over and over and over again, right? Like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait for the project. Just listening to the 4 songs she has already released. Favorite Cycle, Akanchawa, Ali Bomaye, and I think Goosebumps. She put them together in one, like for her fans. And I'm one of them because I admire her a lot. So you can imagine my disappointment. Where I was thinking I was going to get original. And you see, this next reason I'm about to give might not be a reason, but another criticism I have, and I saw some people on the internet kind of, brushing this off, but I think it's important. In 2025, if you are telling me as an artist that the Grammys is what is your goal and a motivation for you, I almost cannot take you seriously. As a Nigerian artist today, if the Grammys is what you're telling me in 2025, not 2009, not 2010, not in 2020, if you're telling me that the Grammys is a goal for you in 2025 with knowledge and everything we know, I'm looking at you sideways. Talk less of a new artist. Like, my girl, the Grammys is not what you're looking at. That is not it. Not because, I mean, it's your goal. It's not, it's your goal. But there's so many things that come with you trying to make your music popular in America, which is exactly what that is. It is what it is. The Grammys is that. If you as a Nigerian artist, you want to win the Grammy, your music must be popular in America. They're not giving an award to anybody whose music is not popular in America. And I draw the line between because that's the very first one, track 1, to what she did by giving us North American R&B vibes on those songs and not staying original. That was also one of the downfall of this project, because you are trying to reach a certain demographic. And I've always said this before. If you don't stay original to you, even if that is your goal, you are not getting there, because they have more than enough artists who are already doing that better than you will ever do. Even if you're better than them, it's an American award. You are never going to be recognized for R&B. Unless you have a hit in America, you are never going to be recognized for your bop. Even if you come up with a bop, you come up with a hit. If your hit is not popular in America, it's not going anywhere. Go and ask Charlie Poppy and Sheyi Vibes. Go and ask Kiss Daniel, who had 2 of the most gigantic songs in 1 year. Global hits. I'm not saying American, global hit. He still hasn't won one yet. And it's not even a slight on him. It's to tell you how the Grammys work. That cannot be your goal. And I beat in my chest 100% that was at the back of their mind when they were doing this project. You already featured Chloe Bailey, and on that track, she took in a bit of your style to be able to deliver on the track. But then your next project, you want to be like her. You want to make music like her. No. You're still a Nigerian, man. And even if they're not picking up any of these songs here. In fact, the likes of Akanchawa have a better shot for you, of which they're not going anywhere, because your song needs to be known in America. In fact, for Ashake, do you know how many times Ashake sat down on the court side? Fireboy sitting down court side. Thames sitting down court side. Like, you need to be visual to the American society, to the American culture, for them to see you. All of this Thames fame, I mean, comes from Future, having a #1 record with Future. All of the, like, if all of that don't line up, it doesn't matter what you do, man. Doesn't matter. I am so heartbroken at the direction of this project. I'm so heartbroken. I cannot believe that this is what they did. Because I was waiting for this album, like, my goodness. Incredible songwriter, incredible performer. The team behind her. This is a blueprint of how to break an artist, how to make an artist mainstream. Why is it that you're not featuring someone like Little Sims, or what's her name, like, from the UK? I don't know. You've gotten a lot of fans from Africa. The next place you should be aiming to is the UK. Staying original to who you are. The next place you should be targeting is the UK. In fact, I would, if you're telling me you're going for the Brits, I'm on your side. You don't have to lose yourself for that, because with the US, you're losing a part of yourself for you to get recognized over there. It's not a slight. You are losing a part of yourself to get that. Like, I mean, ask Burna. I mean, even the Thames. A lot of, like, people, her music has definitely changed from what, for me personally, I don't listen to her, like, what she has now. It's my own opinion. From what she had before, I feel like that album was very, very mediocre as well. Go and ask Iris Star. I think that album was very, very mediocre as well. I mean, none of them are talking about that project. They're just mentioning the hit singles. The singles from it is what they're pushing. The both albums, I mean, go ask people who are trying to get into that US market. You are going to lose a part of yourself if you want to do that. And you're a new artist. You don't need that. You don't need that. I mean, so that's kind of where we are. I'm so disappointed. The contrast between her and Terry Apala is so, because I listened to both projects this past time, and I just kept comparing both of them. Not comparing as in who's better or anything, but just the direction of the music. Imagine if with all the, even with your new, the R&B beat you're working with, if the delivery was still original to you, what makes you you? If the delivery was still as original as the song with 1010, as the song with DJ James, right? As the one with DJ Neptune, as the one with Benson, as the one with Chloe. If it was as original as See Finish, Why, American Love, Vision, if it was as original as any of that, you'll be good. You'll be good. But it was not as original. I'm looking at Terry Apala. Whatever it, like, he changed, the beat changed, different sort of genres ish, and he's so dominant on the record. He's able to bring it down to his level. He's able to subdue. Terry Apala was able to subdue every beat, every change of the beat to his dominance and just deliver every single time. So you're not lost by what is changing on the background. It's like it's still Terry you're getting every single time. And that's what made that project Black and White by Terry Apala it's such a phenomenal project. I mean, I was so shocked at how he was able to break down the music every single time. Once the beat starts, I'm like, oh my gosh, how is he going to do this R&B thing or this trap-ish leaning kind of that I'm hearing here? And the moment he opens his mouth, it's like he just subdues the music. He just subdues everything and just brings it down and be like, I'm in control here. I did not get that from Qing Madi and the Blueprint for sure. I'm heartbroken. I'm disappointed. This could have been better. The direction of the music, I cannot even believe this is what happened, because I know this is not up to her. Every time she was featured on a record, she stayed original and killed it every single time. Every single time. How do you kill every single feature you've been on in the past 2 years? How do you kill every single feature? I don't think we've had that before. At least not from any new artist that I've seen. And I'm not talking about their own. I'm saying you're featured on a song and you kill every single feature in a 2-year span. That is not normal. That's rare. So how do we go from that to this project? I think they were overthinking the work here, the job that needed to be done. They were overthinking it, and they decided to go this direction. I'm disappointed, but it's not like it's not like it's over because she's extremely talented. She's going to be in this industry for a long time. There is a comeback here, a strong comeback. I don't know if they have a deluxe coming. I mean, with today's music industry, most likely they do. It's going to be interesting to see how they're able to, what songs they add to it. If they're able to listen to what the fans are saying, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there and the changes and adjustments are being made. But I'm not even concerned as to what will happen. Of like, is she going to be able to come back? Because the talent is there. The past 2 years tells me that she is going to be a powerhouse in this industry. But man, whoever is doing the decision in the music direction, they failed her. Because I don't put this on her. I think her team failed her big time. I think this is the case of too many hands spoil the soup. Too many people wanting to stare. Too many people wanting to give direction. Or it could just be one giant influential person on the team who is very, very misinformed. And doesn't, well, I was just saying made a mistake because I don't really know whoever it is. So I'm not going to say anything about them personally. I'm just going to say it could be too many hands spoil the soup, or one person who made an incredibly bad, terrible judgment. Yeah, it's just so ridiculous, man. But Qing Madi she's still one to watch out for. I mean, that's no doubt. Her talent speaks for itself. So we can't even, there's even nothing to say about that. But as always, I want to know what you guys think about this. Honestly, these are just kind of like my thoughts on some of these projects. We've gone way ahead of time the time that I actually thought we were going to do today. We always try to keep it 1 hour, but when I've been out for 2 weeks, you gotta get a little bit more of me today. So a little more of me today, and I hope you guys enjoy as well. That's where we kind of round things off on the show. We're already way beyond time. We'll always talk about things that I've lined up. I've got stuff on my list that I think we're gonna always talk about next time for sure. Please do not forget that I'm available on Twitter. You can always reach out to me. It's Tiae Sound, Tiae Sound, or also on Twitter, No Stand Pod, NOSTANPOD. Please don't forget to also follow on YouTube is the No Stand Zone podcast with Tiae on YouTube as well. Please tell family and friends. Let's keep growing this. I mean, it's a whole 1 year anniversary of this podcast. It couldn't have been possible without every single one of you. Let me know what your favorite part of this podcast is the past 1 year. I mean, share that with me. Come on, guys. I know you're probably on the run or you're moving or you don't have time, but when you do, please just take out the time. Tell me, what's your favorite part of this podcast? What is the thing that you like the most that keeps you coming back every single time? Please share that with me. Let me know. I really do appreciate you guys. I cannot begin to just to express deeply how I feel in my heart about that. So as always, please don't drink and drive, don't text and drive until next week. And yeah, hopefully we have an incredible year ahead of us. 2026 probably be here again. We'll be bigger, better. Okay. So until next week, stay blessed.